the Major League Baseball, we're getting closer to automatic extraction. What's your thoughts, Omar?
Would it be a distraction or would it be good for baseball?
Oh, breaking news.
What
We have
happened?
breaking news.
Here we go again with the plus minuses there.
When you beat me to it, I was like, oh shoot, we
You
started
have to
thinking.
you have to be quick. You have to be quick. In game, real time, it's hard to like make that same call 100%.
Hello, everyone. We are back from our long break. It's Saturday Sliders. I'm Almar, and I have Armando next to me. And let's talk baseball.
Well, Omar, let's get into it. Let's go around the bases. It's been a long off season, and we have a lot to talk about. And spring baseball is here, so let's talk about it.
Around the bases.
Let's start with we have two signings. Manager's extension signing. Aaron Boone has signed a 2-year extension, and Mark Kotze of the Sacramento A's have signed a an extension through 2028 with the club option of 2029. What stands out to you with those two signings?
I like the Marcotte one. The A's are in the midst of a transition, Armando, moving from Oakland to Sacramento. This team needs stability, and extending their manager, Mark Kotsay, is a great move for this organization. Managing the A's has always been hard with how limited their budget is, right? So being successful is hard, and Kotsay has navigated this last year. I love this contract extension, Armando.
Yeah, I think you do have a point there. Like, it's gonna be a little hard for Bay Area sports fans, it's especially Ace fans in general, right? Because it's kind of like that the one that got away, right? So it seems like right now their intent is to we're getting a new stadium. We are signing players. We're going after free agents, and our we're calling up our top prospects, which they it's going to be hard to get used to it. But this is a great move. Obviously, last year they overachieved. He's been and Mark is he has a losing record. It's not he has like 150 wins with over 375 losses. It's not a great record, but it seems like they're going on the right directions. And this kind of puts in place because they're expected to be in Vegas at 2028. So that's around the mark. So we'll see where the A's are at. He might be the new coach. I mean, still be the coach when they move to Vegas, or they might be looking for a new skipper altogether when they move to Las Vegas. So it's very interesting. What about Aaron Boone? What's your thoughts there?
The Aaron Boone one, I like it too, but it's the Yankees, right?
I think it's very interesting with the Yankees, right? Because it's one of those teams that there's always a lot of pressure, right? And when I heard the extension, I was kind of shocked because the last 2 years, he's been in the hot seat with all the pressure of the New York media. So I was definitely surprised that he was willing to extend an extension. But he's been consistent. He's been there for the since 2018. They have reached the playoffs all of his season except for one. So and he ranks sits in seventh in all in wins as a coach in the Yankees history. So there's been consistency there. So I kind of like it too.
I mean, hate it
Um,
or love it, Armando. Who do you think is out there to replace him, right? So,
exactly right.
but
So
again, we can understand the urge for the Yankees and their fans as they have now won the World Series since 2009. So this is an eternity for New
Yeah.
York, right? So I can understand if they wanted Aaron Boone out of there, but I like this sign extension.
Yeah, I think so too, right? At first, I didn't think so because once again, like he's been in the hot seat, but like who else is out there? He is a New York Yankee. He understands the culture. But both coaches, they were in the last year of the contract, and both of them said, "I'm glad this is out of the way, so we can concentrate on the season." So good for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with the next topic. Let's go. This spring season, the Major League Baseball, they're getting closer to an automatic strike zone. Um, there's five clubs, share clubs in Arizona leagues that they will have automatic strike zone, and 8 teams in the Grapefruit League in Florida that they will be testing out. We're getting closer to automatic strike zone. What's your thoughts, Omar?
Would it be a distraction or would it be good for baseball? I saw this on X actually when the first successful challenge
Yeah,
happened, right? They wanted to speed the game, right? They wanted to speed the game, but if someone challenges it, it'll actually longer the pitching, right? So I'm not sure if it actually worked, but it's interesting when I saw it. It was good. It was like a breath of fresh air, right?
yeah. I think first of all, like they have Major League Baseball. They've been testing the minor league system, Double A and Triple A. They all have it. So um, players who have played in the last couple of years in Triple A, they have seen it how it works. Pitchers, they've seen it how it works, right? So it's going to be, and players have when uh, athletes go down to do a rehab, it's a new thing for them. I've heard some players saying like, "Oh yeah, it's strange, right?" So, but it just means that we're getting closer to it. Now, there's only two challenges per game per team. So, and it has to be right away. So, like the batter or the catcher or the pitcher has to signal tapping their head or tapping their bat or glove, whatever it is, right away. They can't look at the they can't step out of the box or look at their skipper like at your challenger. There's no flag. It has to be right away in order to count. But you only get two, so it gets very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it yet. Um, but I'm looking forward to it because I want to see do players wait to the end of the game when the maybe it's closer, right? Like it's 2 out situation, runner on third. Do you challenge? Do you save it to the end of the game, or does the player use them right away in the first inning, right?
First inning,
So,
right?
so you don't want to be that guy, and then the whole team is mad at you. So I'm interested, but yeah, I'm
I saw
interested.
an interesting I saw an interesting take. Someone mentioned it'll be the death of pitch framing now. So
Yes, it does.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I've been reading into it because it's already said and right. So there's not a high strike zone no more.
Yeah.
It actually is lower. So like if you're a pitcher who is a ground ball hitter, it actually works for your advantage. And for a batter who likes a high ball, well now you're in risk of swinging of high balls, right? So
Yeah.
unless you just lay off, it's like, oh, it's high, just lay off, and it's going to be a ball, right? So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So, and of course, we have been debating us, me and you, and other networks have debating about this electronic strike zone. So, but it's here. We'll see what it does, right? So,
Yeah.
next topic in mind. Let's go back to the Yankees. The Yankees have announced that they will allow a well-groomed facial hair. For the first time in history since 1970, since the Steinbrenner family bought the team, they're allowing facial hair. Thoughts?
when you messaged me this, I was like, I thought it was a joke, and then I I had to read it on MLB Network. So they the owner said they don't want to miss on free agents, and
Right.
this is an interesting take because now I'm gonna talk about this later on with Vlad. Vlad has facial hair, right? When
Go.
have you seen this on X? There's like a Yankee before this hair policy got announced. There was like a picture of Vlad Jr. with a Yankee uniform without beard, and he looks like a kid, like a bully
Oh
from high
man,
school.
that's funny. I was
So yeah.
reading about it too, and I couldn't take it seriously. The reasons behind it, and they were like, well, today's kids they will all have facial hair, and I'm like, people have been having facial hair for, for centuries. This is nothing new. Like it's just funny that the the owner, Sunbrenner, he was his comments about it. So,
Yeah, I
but
think
definitely
he
it's a
said
big deal because I remember having like seeing like Randy Johnson or other players who come on, they have facial, and then the first shot that they have on the clubhouse, they have no facial hair, so it's pretty interesting. So
yeah, this is like an intimidating part of the game, especially for like relievers and closers. They traded for Devin Williams, and he has like a massive beard, right?
mhm.
And the first photo op that he had to remove all the beard. So he doesn't look
That's hilarious.
intimidating out there, man. Let me tell you, without the beard.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, let's go with the next topic in mind. Omar, did you hear this week's beginning of the week? Manfred, commissioner of baseball, made comments saying that the Dodgers are well within the right of their spending. Now, there's been comments, fans been writing to the commissioner's office. Fans are concerned of the Dodgers spending. This is all because of the Dodgers spending, right? Teams like the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Cubs and the Yankees, the former evil empire, have said we can't keep up with the Dodgers spendings. But Manfred said they're within their rights. If you're gonna blame the system. What's your thoughts about his comments?
Everyone is furious on how the Dodgers are spending, Armando. The rules are there. The Dodgers found that loophole and used it to perfection. So Dodgers have $300 million TV contract among everything else. So they have the money to splurge. That's not a problem for them. So we can all complain, but salary cap will not happen even with the CBA coming up this 2026, right? So I can see them raising the cap floor where you see teams like the Marlins who are not doing anything this offseason to spend money to be competitive. I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. Dodgers is not the
Mm,
problem.
good
Yankees is not the
interest.
problem. It's the smaller market not spending.
That's a good point. I haven't heard that point of view. It's like, yeah, like why are we not talking about the teams who are not spending, right? Obviously, it's not our money, but you can't be complaining if you're not willing to spend, right? Now,
Yeah.
Manfred did say that the Dodgers are well organized and they're financially smart. So obviously, the Dodgers have a lot of investors, right? So, um, yeah, it's very interesting. He didn't say much. Obviously, the contract is coming up, right? So we'll see if there's going to be any more luxury taxes, or a salary cap. Now that that sounds like, oh, that's a great idea. You might think that that's a good idea, but when you look at other sports like football or hockey, it shows that it's not really the best idea. The salary cap is not. It's not really. It doesn't work well for some teams, right? So um, yeah, so we'll see what they do. Now he didn't want to comment any further, um, because the contract it's starting this year. The contract negotiation starts a year in advance, so this fall it will the negotiations will start, and he didn't want to go into it. But as a fan, I think a lot of people has shown their frustrations with the Dodgers, and I think like yeah, they found a loophole and to take some of the well clocked comments like "f them," let's just go beat them.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
so
that's how you can
yeah,
beat the Dodgers, right? Actually beat them, right?
yeah.
So,
So
well, Manfred won't complain much, man. He MLB is making money too, so
yeah, exactly right.
why
So
would he, right?
well, it's interesting too because ESPN they're in the last contract with Major League Baseball, so we'll see. And they show Sunday night, Wednesdays, Tuesday. They show a lot of games throughout the week, so we'll see if what the new contracts hold, right? So, and I believe that is all for around the bases. Thank you for once again a reminder. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, and follow. We're on Spotify, YouTube. It will help our channel grow. Thank you so much for watching. All right, Omar, let's go with the next topic. Let's go. Um, Obviously, we cannot cover all the free agents signings, but let's just a new topic. Let's go with the winners and losers of the free agents.
Winners. Losers.
We both are going to choose one winner and one loser. Who are your winner for in the free agent market?
All right, you asked me first, so
Yes.
so like you said, Armando, there are tons of signings and tons of money spent on free agents this offseason. So like you said, we are not going to break down each and every signing that happened. It'll take us the whole year.
Yeah.
So for my winner of this offseason, it is the Sacramento Ace. The Sacramento Ace, they extended Brent Rooker, so they were able to agree on a 5-year contract back in January. Being able to keep their own players have been the problem of the Ace. You
Right.
know this well enough, right?
Yes.
And each and every year, it's hard to see their own players go out, get traded, or that get signed. So locking down Rooker after a solid year was a great move. Then they followed that up by signing free agent pitcher Luis Severino to a 3-year deal. Although it's sad to see Ace spending money after leaving Oakland, seeing them spend some money is a breath of fresh air, and this all ties up with the spending floor for all the teams, right? Like I said, teams need to spend money to keep up with every team, not necessarily keep up with the spending of the Yankees and the Dodgers, but try to compete every year, right? And that's why I picked Ace as the winner of this offseason.
Perfect days. Yes, like I talk about it. It is hard. It's going to be hard to get used to for Bay Area sports fans, but um, that's I agree with you. They have done. It's refreshing to see that from the Ace, right? So, my winners this offseason is the signing that didn't happen. I'm glad that the Yankees did not sign Juan Soto. I think it was the right move for them. I thought from looking the World Series, the way they collapsed under pressure, and I saw it with the Dodgers. The Dodgers do everything perfect. They don't beat themselves. They let the other team beat themselves, and they happen to do in the World Series. The bigger the game, the bigger the pressure. The Yankees collapsed, and it was very noticeable. They needed pitching, they needed defense, they needed a first baseman. And this signing, I I like about this teams are willing to spend because a lot of teams when they go after a big market, they, if they don't get the player, they kind of like, oh, I'm glad I wasn't committed. But they were like, you know what? We're not going to. That's okay. We lost out on Juan Soto, but instead of one player, we're gonna get multiple players, and the Yankees address all their issues by going after multiple players, and one of those players was Cody Bellinger, Max Fried, um, Paul Goldschmidt, just to name a few, right? So they address their first baseman. They they address their pitching rotation to have a bigger depth, right? So and Cody Bellinger, yes, he's not the offensive player he wants, but he's still great in defense. And I, those are my winners right there.
Yeah, I
And
was
to
thinking,
remind
yeah.
everybody, this is not a Yankees podcast.
Again, it's not a Yankees podcast and it's not a Dodgers podcast.
Yeah.
Like I was leaning towards picking the Yanks as winner too, Armando. You're right. Yes, they lost Juan Soto, but they were able to fill in their lineup with multiple bats, like you said, Goldsmith and Bellinger. And I hate to say this, but Yanks are still the team to beat in the East.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I agree with you. Um, let's go with our losers. Who are your losers this offseason?
So as for my loser of the offseason, it is the St. Louis Cardinals. They do not know what they're doing, Armando. The Nolan Arenado is frustrating. Nolan and the Cards cannot come into an agreement on
Hmm.
where to go from here. There were reports that Cardinals have a traded place actually with the Astros, but Nolan stopped that by declining to waive his no trade clause. It gets uglier and uglier, and now they are stuck with Nolan, and they did not do anything to upgrade this team. And what's more frustrating is this NL Central is up there for the taking this season. So that's why I'm picking them as losers.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? So, um, it's like we have mentioned before, baseball is better when the Cardinals are competing, right? So we'll see. Hopefully they have somebody on their pipeline. They maybe that's why they didn't. But if they are just rebuilding again, it's going to be a hard season, a long season for the Cardinals, for the team and for the fans, right? So, my losers this offseason, I'm going with the Boston Red Sox. I know they signed other players on pitching and on defense, but to me, this late signing of Alex Bregman, um, it just it makes no sense to me. Um, why? Because you have a player already of diverse. He now Sox overperformed last year. They were not expected to win, but they did. They had a lot of breakout players, and including diverse. He was an all-star all season. He he was great defensively, and he was great offensively. So for the team to sign Alex Bregman makes no sense, and to do it this late in the season. Now you don't want to be going into the spring training with not being on the same page or having division already, and they have. This is what they allowed, and I just don't think for chemistry going into the season with this kind of tension, it's not good. So to me, there are my losers, and there's no plan. Even some players have said like we don't know what's going on, and it's like to be in spring training and your players are confused and the media's confused, that's some red flags right there. Now you might say, well, Alex Bregman is a World Series champion. He's a great defensive, but last year Alex had 10 um, errors and Diverse had 12. So like it doesn't make no sense. It's pretty much the same player, right? So now Diverse looks like the bad guy here, and Alex is he's going like, well, I'll play anywhere. Well, of course you're gonna say that because you're the new guy on the team, right? So you're not gonna be saying like, oh, I'm not playing anywhere. So, but what makes it more confusing, they're talking about Alex will play third, Diverse second. Diverse has never played anywhere else his whole life the third, right? So it's not as easy to say like, oh, just play second. But their Boston Red Sox top prospect is their second baseman, so he has a chance of making the team this season. So we're talking about Diverse might be if he makes a team, he might be going to first, and so they don't even know what they're gonna do with diverse at this point. So it's a mess, and they're my losers.
Yeah, wow, you picked the Boss Hawks as your loser. Here I am. Here I am looking at them as winner. This was even before Bregman signed there too. So because they
Yeah,
traded for starting pitcher Garrett Crochet, signed Walker Bueller, they added Aroldis Chapman to their pen. Interesting take this interesting take there take here Armando, but like you said, it's a mess with Bregman signing.
yeah.
Because I believe they want to move Devers to DH, like a full-time DH. And
Mhm.
who would want to do that? Devers is still young, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's a
he's
mess
one of
because, like
the
you said, they have a prospect in the second base. So if he comes in, you need to play him. You need
yeah,
to
like
play
it's
him. Yeah. So
and
I like the
he
take.
was one of your breakout players last year, and to be kind of like, hey, I know we're like a week into spring training, but you've been demoted already. So, and now Diverse is not going quietly. He's making comments. He's saying like, nope, third base is my position. It's what I play. He's like, he's not moving, and so we'll see what happens, right? Um, but you know what? It could come across as wrong, but I kind of like it. It's saying like, hey, there's shows a little fight in him, right? And that's what you want to see from your players, right? So like you want them to fight, so compete, and I like it.
Yeah, I like this best because if they're messed up in the AL East, then that's good for the Blue Jays, right?
Yes. So one more thing before we move on to the A's, I mean for the Giants and Blue Jays updates, I want to talk about um, Nicaragua has clinched the 2026 Classic berth, beating this morning Chinese Taipei um, to qualify. And now 16 other teams has qualified already for next year's World Classic, Baseball Classic. So this is great for Nicaragua to make it. There's still a couple more spots to fill. This Tuesday, we will have Spain and Chinese Taipei's winner will get another spot for next year's Classic.
Yeah, I like this qualifying
Mm.
for baseball classic next year. Yeah, Nicaragua's great. Was it them that had the inside the park home run last night? I'm not sure. Someone hit a inside the parker last night.
Yes, there
I
was. I think it was actually South Africa. No, or Spain or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'll
mhm.
look into it. Anyways, let's go into the Giants and Blue Jays updates.
Giants, Blue Jays.
Omar, start it off.
Am I
or do you want?
starting this?
Or do you want me to start it? I can start it.
Okay. For your Blue Jays update, the good news, Armando, after months of frustrations, striking out on players Shohei, Soto, Corbin Burns, and Roki, and many more, the Blue Jays have finally landed a big free agent. Outfielder Anthony Santander signed with the Jays for 5 years, $92.5 million with a 35 million front loaded deferred money. So we can actually do deferred money too, right? So there is an opt out on the third year, which the Jays can void if they add a sixth year on this deal. Great signing by Atkins and the front office on this one, as the Jays have become laughing stock from everyone due to their lack of success, landing a free agent and always coming in second. Lineup looks promising compared to last season that had just Justin Turner batting cleanup last year. So I like this signing.
Mm.
And during the winter meetings too, the Jays traded for Platinum Gold Glove second baseman Andres Jimenez from the Guardians in exchange for Spencer Horwitz. We are hoping that Jimenez can regain some of his offensive power from 2 years ago. This will go a long way with his glove and base running if it all comes together for the Jays this year and for years to come. The Jays also signed relief pitcher Jeff Hoffman, to a 3-year, $33 million contract. Hoffman was a Blue Jay first round draft pick and will be tasked to handle the closing duties left by previous closer Jordan Romano. We are hoping as Jays fans that this bullpen will be so much better than last year. They were atrocious last year, Armando. And the Blue Jays also signed two-time World Series champ and three-time Cy Young winner, Cy Young pitcher Max Scherzer to a one-year deal. This helps the Jays push down Yariel Rodriguez to the pen as he continues to get acclimated to the bigs. We're not asking Man Max to be an ace of this rotation. If let's say can if Max start 18 to 20 games with a sub 4 ERA. This will be good signing for Ross Atkins. And now for the bad news, Armando. Everyone knows this. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays were not able to come into an agreement on a contract extension. And as a fan, this is frustrating that the front office was not able to lock down their own homegrown talent who expressed his desires to be a Blue Jay for life. How much was Vlad asking, or how much was the front office willing to offer? We will never know. There was like, or David Ortiz said, Vlad was looking for 13 mil, 585. There was reports that the Blue Jays actually offered $470 million, but the validity of those numbers are we can know if those are actual numbers, but those are reports flying around. So who knows who turned down which, right? So it's heartbreaking, and now we see all the rumors fly out on where Vlad will land. If the Jays are competing against the Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, Dodgers for Vlad, good luck. Vlad is good as gone after the season. But like I said, Armando, overall it was frustrating off season, especially how things unfolded with Roki Sasaki and Vlad Guerrero. Where got it again by the Japanese player going to the Dodgers. It was Shohei Part 2 without the plane tracking and sushi reservations. So, but
Oh,
we
breaking
move
news,
on.
Omar.
I'm
Breaking
sorry.
news. Breaking
What?
news. Vlad Jr. signing with the Dodgers next offseason.
I I won't doubt that. I won't doubt that. They have so much money. It'll be deferred till 2050, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we move on. We move on, and luckily, we're able to close the deal with Tony Taters after the heartbreaking rookie weekend, right? So the Vlad non-extension sucks the life out of the Blue Jays fans. No matter how bad your team looks, all we can do is support them. It will be a tough, but this year's batting lineup is better than last year. It's still not wow. The Jays are World Series contender this season. But like I said, did they have a much better lineup this season?
Yeah, I think that's obviously we talked about it when the news broke out that they didn't come to an agreement. Um, it broke the baseball world, right? So it's kind of like, holy cow, like they didn't come to agreement. So it is shocking, and there, of course, the reporters, media saying like Vlad is not coming back, right? So it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that because there's always a chance, right? So but his dad moved around. He went from he Montreal Angels, um, Rangers, right? So he's used to moving around. So maybe he will follow his same footsteps as his dad, as moving clubhouse, right? So obviously, the Giants fans or they commented right away in the media in the Bay Area media. They were like, "Well, can the can the Giants trade for him? Maybe a 1 year rental, or maybe sign him for a long term, making him a full time DH because the Giants they don't have a they haven't had a good DH. It's been a platoon system, giving players rest and but they don't have that power hitter. So there's like, well, maybe that makes sense. The Giants, but I think every team has a rumor of uh, why Blatt will land with their teams, right? So it will see. But if there's rumors that you're saying at 385 or four,
It's
that's actually your
585.
or
Yeah,
585.
Vlad
To
was
me, that's a really good deal. Like I was like, let's not let's not let's not make Vlad Jr. like a unicorn here. Like Vlad has weight issues. Right, so he doesn't come in the best shape. He always starts slow the last 2 seasons. He's one of those players that he has a good second half of the season, but it's always like last year we were talking about it on this channel, saying like, can you imagine his numbers if he would have start hot or just normal on April and May? He would have been in the MVP conversation, but his struggles, that's what we talk about in April and May. So like to me that doesn't sound like a $600 million player, right? So to me, somewhere between 385 to 550, that's fair, I think, right? But if he's looking for a contract of like Shohei or Soto or even Judge, it's like, well, you're still young and you have a lot to prove as well. Still,
Yeah, what goes for Vlad is he's young, 26 years old. But the problem is the inconsistency, like you said. It's not just the start of the year. There's like 2 years that he didn't perform well, and then there's
yeah.
2 years that's like MVP season. Which one are you getting in with Vlad, right? That's why the numbers if you're like the owner and the management, where do you land with this one, right? I was looking at 425, so I was thinking Vlad was asking about like 500 mil, and the Blue Jays are like they're offering 370 million, and they have to come together in the middle, like 425. But now we got the report of 470, and Vlad was asking for 485. That's a lot of money, like difference. So I think Vlad deserves to be a free agent. Like everyone is saying, Vlad waited for this one. Vlad
Yes,
waited
that
for
is
this.
true.
Even if he says he wants to be a Blue Jay, he got to a 585. For example, if it's true, okay, I want 585. I know the Jays won't get there, right? He gave them this amount of money that Jace won't offer to him so that he can go to free agency. Who knows, right? But this is just speculation on our part, right? But he deserves to be free agent. The management screwed up not extending him during the arbitration
I
times,
think so
right?
too. Yeah. The front office had a chance. They had their window. They messed out. Um, but I think you're right. I think some players want to test the market, right? They want to see what's out there. Sometimes it's good to go see how other clubs, how they run their front office, right? So it could be like, oh man, yeah, like the Blue Jays were a good organization. You never know until you go to a different team, right? So some players they want to test that, and I think Vlad within his right to do that. Now, Bo, I think he needs to prove it, even if it's a 1 year contract or 2 years, right? Like his struggles are just right there on on the defense side and the bat. We have seen it. He's been declining since his rookie year, right? We've seen that decline, right? So, and he still shows some flashes here and there, but he needs to prove it for any team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good thing you talked about Bo, because you'll talk about this with your Giants update. He might be looking at the damage number. Would you, if Bo somehow gets to his 2023 form, hitting almost 200 hits, would you give him a damage number?
No, I think he needs to. I would do if he has a bounce back season, right, and he's a free agent. I was I think it would still be a three-year deal. I think a 2 year contract with a player option or something like that. He needs to show that he's back, right? So I wouldn't obviously. some team will offer him 5 years, but I think it has to be a discount. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
I
because
would not
everyone,
commit. I would not commit with him long term.
yeah, because everyone's saying, since Vlad is not signing, why not try signing, extending Bo? But Bo doesn't have incentive to sign
Yeah,
after like a disaster year, right? Why would he
right.
sign? Yeah, why would he,
So why
right?
would yeah? Like it's kind of like no team was kind of like well, right now on defense, he's a liability on the field, right? And you can't hide him for the position that he plays. You cannot hide him, right? And he's not
Yeah,
like he's like a power hitter that you can just make him a full time DH, right? So either he needs to hopefully he bounces back. Like I'm not hating on him, but he definitely needs to prove it for any team to make him a to offer him a long term contract, and hopefully he does, right? So
yeah. The silver lining here for the Blue Jays is with the contract clear for Vlad and Bo, they hopefully they smash, right?
right, exactly, right,
If they're doing great, both of them, that means the Blue Jays are doing great, right? No matter what happens to the offseason, if they're gone, they're gone. But if somehow somewhere baseball is like that, that's why we love baseball. We
yeah,
just never know what happens, right? But if the Blue Jays are winning with Bo and Vlad smashing, then everyone would be happy, right?
right. So, but I think both of them will test the free market. I don't think I can see them both being on different teams next year. So even if they have a bad or good season, so but quick, if the Dodgers, I mean, if the Jays are having under 500 record, do they trade Vlad at the
For
trade
sure.
deadline?
For sure, Vlad and Bo are gone. If they're like way behind the standings, the toughest part is what would you do if they're like one game ahead in the third wild card? What
Right.
if they're like only one game below wild card, right? What would you do as a manager, right? That's the toughest part. But if you're out a million miles away,
Yeah, 10
then
games back, right?
yeah,
It's
then
yeah,
just trade them. The toughest part
yeah.
is if they're in there, like in the middle, right? So yeah,
Because
that's the hard part.
this happened with the Angels, right? With the Shote, the whole conversation off season, are they gonna trade him? Are they gonna trade him? Everybody thought that they're sure they're gonna trade him. They're not gonna let Show walk away for nothing, and they did. They didn't trade him at the deadline, and they didn't get anything in return, and they get to live with that decision because they're they're uh 30 miles down from Dodger Stadium, and they get to see show what the Angels could never do, right? So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's,
but trading your star player when you're out in the playoff contention, you're not getting top prospects anyway. You
no,
just yeah, so you'll you'll get pennies for the dollar. So, but you get what you get, right?
yeah, I think there were some like because of the Giants fans they've been talking about, like if they were able to land him as a at the deadline, that means that they're in the race for the wild card spot. So, but not for the we're not giving any top prospects.
Eldridge,
Right. Yeah,
Eldridge.
no. So, all right. Well, let's get into the Giants update. So the Giants were busy somewhat this offseason. The Giants fans and media wish they were a little bit more busy, but they were able to sign with a couple new players this offseason, and with the biggest one is Willie Adames signing the longest contract in Giants history. Um, Now, Willie Adames has he has not played one game yet, and he's already a fan favorite. He like when he calls in at the radio station, like the lineups are just buzzing texts. Uh, he doesn't hide who he is. He's actually very fun. Willie Adames, he speaks what it's in his mind. When the news broke out in November that he signed with the Giants, uh, obviously the PR, they were showing him around town, and they were like, "Oh, are you gonna be on the Giants media?" They took him to a Thursday night game to watch the Niners game, and they're like, "Oh, tomorrow you have a radio session, with the local radio station." And he was like, "Oh no, like I'm not gonna." I'm gonna be drunk. I won't be able to get up in the morning. So that was his comments. It's like I'm going to the football game and I'm going to get faster. So he's like, he's already like that was his introduction to the Giants fans, and it was like, wow, like this is guy is funny. And this week they asked him, "Oh, have you seen Barry?" I was like no, where's Barry Bonds? Like I want to see him. I want to get some tips. He like I want to be great. So it's like he just speaks whatever his mind, and he's becoming a fan favorite, and we're excited. Giant fans are excited. Um, he's charismatic. He's lovable. He's he had fan fest. He was just walking around the fans. So he's yeah. We're Giants fans and media are excited to see him, and so it's great. So the net signing is Justin Verlander. Uh, he's an old timer, but he has something to prove, and I'm excited about this that signing as well. This signing reminds me of when Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain and Matt Baum and when they were young, and they signed Randy Johnson for 2 years, and he was kind of like their mentor. And this sign reminds me of that because Giants right now they have a young pitching staff, and signing a veteran to teach him, to show them how to train, how to frame location on the ball, and we already seeing that already this spring. Like he's showing pointers to the young pitchers, and they're asking him the questions. And the thing is, he's willing to to teach them or to give them advice. Some other star players they don't. They're reluctant because they see them as a threat, right? Like, no, I'm here to compete. I don't want to lose my spot, right? So, but he knows his role and he's willing to give that free advice, and it's great. And it's so you already see that chemistry and building up. So it's great to see that. And he's 30 wins away from reaching the milestone of 300 wins, and he has a lot to prove. So he wants to prove to himself he still has it, and he wants to reach that milestone. So a 3-year contract, he might be close to that. So same thing with Randy Johnson. He actually got his 300 win as a Giants in the Giants uniform. So it's a lot of there's a lot of familiar there, and Giants fans are excited to see that, right? So now we're not asking him to be the player he was 10 years ago. Um, so the expectation, but he's out there to compete and to help the team. That's where we're expecting him to be a part of the team. So that's really great. So, so that's the free agents that we signed. The other big news, Buster Posey is the man in charge now. And there's a huge difference between this new regime and the old regime under Farhine. Now, I don't want to speak negative about Farhine, but the story of the camp is the Giants got away from Giants baseball under the Farhine tenure. 7 years, they got away with it. And now the theme of this spring training is Giants baseball, getting back to the Giants way, um, doing the right thing, right? So making the simple play, and that's what Busty Post is all about, Giants way, and teaching these young players Giants baseball history. They got away with that the new from the old regime because they got into the numbers, they got into the new way of baseball thinking, and it left players a bad taste and fans because they got away, and I don't know why they decided to go away from the Giants way with a new way of baseball. But with new Buster being in charge, he's preaching, saying like, no, we're getting back to playing Giants ball here. So it's exciting to see that there's a life, and all players are coming back. Like, and I want to say something, like, I don't want to be negative about Farhan, but JT Snow, uh, uh, a great Giant for a long time. He was a first base Gold Glove for, I think he won like 6 or 7 Gold Gloves, right? As an Angel and Giants combined. He was in the under he was on the coaching staff. People don't know this, but he was on the coaching staff for all those three World Series teams. He has 3 rings, and when Farhan got hired, he was told that he was not allowed in the clubhouse. How this is one of the great. We're not talking about just a regular Giants former players, right? We're talking about Giants great here, a forever Giant. One day he will have his plaque retire as a Giants history, or if he doesn't have it already. But it's like, how can JT Snow not be allowed in the clubhouse? That pisses me off right there. Why is he not allowed in the clubhouse? So, but now with Buster being back, he's allowed to be granted. He's part of the coaching staff. Um, he was part of the winter ball, and he's a part of the team spring training. He's been on the radio a lot talking about he's back. But to me, that there's a huge difference. There's more of a joy being this spring training. But the old regime, that really pisses me off that he wasn't allowed to be in the clubhouse. Um, and the other topic of obviously everybody's excited about our top prospect, Edrich, his first baseman. Everybody's excited. The power is there. No one's denying it. Last night, his first game as in spring training, he hit a 450 bomb, dead center. It hit the wall on the field. It almost left the stadium. So that's pretty excited. Last year, he's only 19 years old, and there's a pressure that they want to see him make the team. They want to see him, but the Giants are saying we're not going to rush him. Part of the reason that they are not willing to trade for Vlad because they have Edwards in the system. Part of the reason they didn't go for Paul Goldsmith or the Polar Bear in New York, because they were asking for a 2-3 year deal contract, and the Giants feel like, no, we have the Nets. They don't believe they have the Nets player in line to be a first. They believe they have the Nets all-star, face of the league type of player waiting. So that's how the Giants feel about him. They're taking their time. They're not going to rush him. And he's only 19 years old. Last year, no one expected him to have the season that he had. He went through all 3 levels of single A, double A, and triple A. All in one season, and he went through all of them, and he made it look easy. So it's like he's only has under 300 at bats, but he destroyed pitchers last year. But they're saying like, nope, he's only 19. We're gonna wait on him. They brought JT Snow. His biggest issue is like, why not call him up? Well, his defense, his glove needs a lot of help still. He cannot just. We cannot, and it's like, well, call him up if his numbers is that great, make him DH. It's like, no, this is a young player that needs to start every. He needs playing time. He cannot just sit on the bench, right? So what? The plan is to have him play another season in AAA Sacramento, taking his time. But he has a good chance of making the team. But even if he qualifies to make the team, they're going to send him down. That's what they're saying, but we'll see what happens. If he keeps hitting bombs like he did yesterday, it's going to be hard to send him down, right? So, but they brought in JT Snow. back, like I was saying, to show him he's working with G to know how to play first base because they need him to play both ways. Um, yeah, so it's exciting. Um, there's a different feel to it this offseason. We they're not they're shutting down the Dodgers talk. Like we're not here to talk about the Dodgers. They've been the last 2 seasons we're talking about a lot about the Dodgers. We know they're spending, but we have a good team. The report says like we have a good team here, and we just need to go out there and play. And another moves is that one of the biggest storylines is that they they let Estrada walk away from basement of second base. He's been the Giants' second baseman for the last 5 years. They let him go away. They didn't go after. Why? Because they have Tyler Fitzgerald. He's going to be the full-time second baseman. He did enough as a rookie last year. He was a utility player. He's playing short, second, center, right field. He did enough to make the roster, and he did enough to improve to show like I can play full time position, and that's his job. He won the job. He's going to be a second. So a lot of players are excited for Fitzgerald to be the second baseman, and they feel they have a strong with Chapman, Willie, and Tyler Fitzgerald. That's in the middle of the outfield. And this year with the platoon system with Willie Flores and Lamont Wade, they feel they have the defensive team that they've been looking for the last 3 seasons. So there's a very exciting, very different vibe from last year. And also, like, let's not forget Willie Chapman signed very last year, and he talked about um, last season he didn't have a voice because he was like, well, I signed late. This is not my team. He didn't want to push any buttons. But this offseason, I'm one of the leaders here. So him and Willie have made it known along with Logan Webb's like we are the leaders here. We need players to step up, and Chapman and Willie and Logan Webb are saying like no, like no more running away from being a leader, but speaking up. Like they're taking the ring. So that is the Giants update. Um, there's a lot of excitement at this time of the year.
Yeah, I like the optimism there, Bado, with Pastor Posey. I've seen different takes on where the Giants are going. But like you said, you can't talk about what the Dodgers or what the other teams are doing.
Yeah,
You get caught up with that one, and you destroy your own team, right? So that's why we talk about Jays and Giants. They're always, for some reason, they're intertwined.
yeah,
Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer are number 10 and 11 in all-time strikeouts. So who would take that 10th spot this year? Because
yeah,
no one is, no one can chase them. Clay Kershaw is the last one who, and he's far behind. So this is gonna be interesting season. Who's gonna take that 10th spot in strikeout leaders, right? So yeah,
yeah,
that's why we're always happy to like talk about Giants
yeah,
and Jays, right? Keep Eldridge fresh for Blue Jays,
yeah,
for Vladimir Guerrero, right? So it's a
yeah,
1-for-1 deal. Take it or leave it, right?
yeah. And I think he's been in the what there's been talks about trades. Some teams have said like, well, is Edwards can he be a part of that package? And they're like, no, like Edwards is not on the table. None of their young pitching staffs um, are on the table for trades, right? So that's how they feel. The Giants feel that they, with their first baseman and their young rotation that's being building up, they're not. They feel they have the same model that they had in the early 2000s, right? So we have the formula here to compete and win for a World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is it for Giants baseball. Any thoughts?
No, basically it's spring training. We're not gonna overreact with spring training
No,
anyway, because well, everyone's like mixing and matching with pitchers. If the starting pitchers are struggling, they're probably just doing tinkering on their pitches, on the grips
mhm,
and everything. The hitters will be always behind the pitchers, right? So
right.
overreactions are we're not gonna take that
Yeah,
so
it's not.
seriously, right? So we're excited for baseball, right? So
Baseball's back, man.
yeah, I
Baseball's back,
know.
so you can feel it. You can feel it in there. But next week I'll talk more about the pitching rotation.
Hey,
Because right, yep,
Web is your opening day starter, right?
yes, it's been announced right away. They made it known, right? Like that, Logan is the ace of the rotation. You know, he's the like I said, he's the leader now. Webb is very quiet. He's not very vocal, but they need him to step up, and he's um, to be the leader in the clubhouse and for the pitching rotation, right? So, but I'll talk about more about the starting rotation next week, right? So I just wanted to talk about the new Posey and Willie Adames and our top prospect, you know. But I'll talk more about the and
Yeah.
weeks to come about the rotation, right? So
Yeah, July 18 to 20, Giants versus Blue Jays, Rogers Center. It's gonna be
let's go,
exciting.
let's go. Podcasting on location.
Yeah.
All right, so. Well, that it's
Perfect.
it
So
for Saturday Sliders. Until next time.
see you next week.